Smitty, how do you feel about this happening again?
Okay, I found this on the web for how do you feel about this happening?
Not Siri, Smitty.
I was kind of looking forward to how Siri felt about it.
Salutations, people. It's Lucas Deal, host of the Players Meeting, and welcome in. I've got my boys with me, the one-time world champ, Chris Smith, Smitty, and the Step Pup Master, Mr. Ronnie Unruh. Fellas, how excited are we for tonight's show?
I think it's going to be awesome, man. We had another tremendous weekend of disc golf. And can't wait to chat.
Yeah, same. It's the Disc Golf Pro Tour seems to only get better week in and week out, so excited to talk about it.
Yep. And Ronnie is live from the hotel room, so he's traveling, but we're going to make it work as always. He's going to have a little bit better connection than last time. But tonight's show is going to be a dang good one. We're going to recap the Open at Austin and dive into all the storylines there. Tonight, you boys are going to unveil your list of the top 5 women disc golfers today. As always, we're going to have our Wheel of Debate and look at how we did on our weekly picks. You don't want to miss this one, so stay tuned. Remember, you can find us on all of the streaming platforms where you find your podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever. Just look up the words Win Dummies and you'll find us. But we're going to start where we always start. What's poppin'? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? And of course, we're going to start right here with the Open at Austin. Round 1, women's side, Kat Mertsch. She goes kind of crazy. 1020 rated with a double bogey and a single bogey. 5 for 5 from C1X, a 240-foot throw-in. She was feeling it. She was being goofy and always normally herself. Tatar at this point, 2 shots back. On the men's side, Ellis and Marweed both shoot 10 down, which was 1081 rated. Rathbun 1 back with another great round. And Vincent Heimberg, 100% backhand the whole round, was 1 bad hole away from leading this thing. And then Anttila got the ace a few minutes after being warned for a time violation, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. Second round, Owen was absolutely lights out. Incredible. 13 under with a bogey, 1055 rated. Kat followed up a great first round with another good second round, 1,000 rated 7 under. And so Tatar, 9 strokes back going into the final round. On the men's side, Anttila and Gannon go double digits. 12 down for Anttila. Gannon shot 14 down with a bogey, 1088 rated. And you're going to have Matteo and Joey Buckets going to be on the final card. When all was said and done, what can we say about Owen Scoggins? She was absolutely incredible, winning by 11 strokes and finishing with the highest rated tournament in history on the women's side, 1029 rated. Lights out the whole tournament. Super happy for her. And on the men's side, Kyle Klein went out and set the bar, shooting 12 down. It was 1087 rated from the third card. Vinny is back. A late LB cost him a shot at tying or maybe even passing Kyle. And then Niklas Anttila missed a very short one on 16, forcing him to have to go double birdie on 17 and 18. He gets 17 on 18. Dude pures his drive. His upshot leaks out a little bit, and he's just outside circle. And then he cans a 34-footer in the dark for the win. Whew, it was an amazing weekend. He shot 1063 for the event. Lots to unpack this weekend, but huge congratulations to both Owen and Niklas, who absolutely slayed. Super happy for both of them. So last week, boys, we talked, and apparently we're going to have to talk about this every single week. The newest victim of the 2-stroke penalty for not showing up to your tee time 5 minutes early is Holly Finley. Smitty, how do you feel about this happening again?
Okay, I found this on the web for how do you feel about this happening?
Not Siri, Smitty.
I was kind of looking forward to how Siri felt about it. Did it matter? I don't even know where she was at in the tournament. Didn't matter to me. You know, she wasn't in the top 2 cards. What was a little concerning to me was watching my boy Nicky run up that trail with the cameras behind him as they're saying, you better hustle. You have 2 or 3 minutes to get to your tee time. So I don't know how long it took him to get from the practice field to the check-in, but dude was cutting it close, man. If you're running, I don't know. It's just a dumb thing to have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that we have to keep talking about it, but we're going to have to keep talking about it because obviously these people only learn the hard way, right? And some of them apparently aren't even learning that way. So you would think that, I'll just harp on what I said last week on that professionalism would kick in, but apparently that's easier said than done.
Yeah, apparently I read Holly's post and kind of like what you said, Smitty, from the practice area to the tee took longer than she had expected, and she was a little bit late.
Which round did this happen on?
Very first.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have no sympathy whatsoever.
Yeah. Again, it's their job, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you're not showing up to work late and not getting scolded for it from your boss, right?
Absolutely.
It's the same concept.
Exactly.
All right. First round, we saw an official call Anttila on a time violation. Ronnie, tell me your thoughts on having these officials making these calls on these top cards and then also not having them on the other cards.
There is, we kind of talked about that a little bit last week. There is a little bit of an unfair aspect to it, but then again, don't take more than 30 seconds. Don't be egregious with your time. I'm sure it wasn't the first time it had happened during the day. The rules are the rules, and if there's going to be someone there to enforce it, then a penalty needs to be issued out. I mean, it's as simple as that to me.
I'm with you to a certain point. I'm wondering if maybe the rule isn't the actual problem. If it's the whole 30-second thing should be gone. And it should just be if your card is not keeping up with the pace of play. And
I agree with that.
I don't think you penalize one of them. I think you penalize the entire card at that point. Maybe with electronic scoring, we can see when gaps are opening up between groups or when a group is causing a backup. And I don't know why an official couldn't go and say, hey, boys, yeah, you're officially on the clock. You got to get moving. You got to close this gap, which is what I think they do in golf. So
that's correct. And let's throw one more variable in there, right? These last 2 groups are generally playing on media filmed cards, which are going to slow you down. You and I have both done it. It does slow the process down. So there's going to have to be some leeway in that rule as well. If they're going to have a rule, I'm okay with enforcing it. I'm with you. I think the rule isn't good. I'm just going to be honest with, or give them a time extension. Give them a couple time extensions per round. Whatever that is. Some shots take more than 30 seconds. I mean, it's a simple fact.
Yeah, and I don't like seeing one of the best players in the world scramble around to try to get a shot off, knowing that they're going to be close to that 30 seconds. Kyle Klein he's pretty notorious for it, really. I've seen him several times have a really crucial technical shot that he'll get a disc and he'll go to his line, he'll look at it, and then he'll go back to his bag and come back, and then he'll just be in a hurry. And I don't want that either, man. Who let the dogs out? Oof, oof, oof. Sorry, Lucas. So, if the situational is what it is,
Yeah.
If you walk up to a wide open shot in the middle of the fairway that is 300 feet to the pin, grab your overstable mid or fairway, whatever you're throwing, go for it.
Yeah.
So
we've been in those situations where, you get into a precarious spot, especially on some scramble shot or a big putt. If the wind is being swirly, I mean, there's those situations that we've all stepped up to, and the indecision is going through, and maybe you take a couple seconds longer. I just don't feel like a tournament should be decided on something like that. But then again, if there's a rule, I'm also all for enforcing it. I'm with you. I just don't think the rule is great.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Smitty, that the rule itself needs changed. Thinking back to that call, though, do you think it affected Anttila at all that first round?
I would think it would got under his skin a bit. Didn't he go bogey and then ace?
I don't. I mean, that kid looks pretty unfazed
That's what
all
I
the
thought,
time.
too.
The only time I've ever really seen him get very high or very low was on a little bit on 17 yesterday afternoon, and then on 18. Obviously, never seen that kind of emotion out of the kid. And I personally, I think he probably took it in stride. Did he happen to double bogey that same hole? Yes, but I just don't think it fazed me.
I think it has a lot to do with where it comes from as well. If it comes from an official, I think it's probably easier to swallow than if Gannon or somebody tries to call him on that.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, well, let's talk about the weather because there were some issues with it. We had 2 different lightning delays in total, and the final round finished in the dark. Smitty, the weather can always make things tougher for tournament staff to run a tournament. How do you think they handled it? Could there have been anything done differently to make it even smoother?
Well, they actually got lucky, I would say. They could have been much worse. There could have been multiple delays instead of just 2. And I felt like the staff killed it. Super smart to eliminate 3 holes. If they had to play those 3 holes, they wouldn't have finished before dark. They also eliminated 3 fairly difficult holes, so that sped play up a little bit. As long as the fields are as big as they are and they're all playing on one course, they're going to be pushed for time. Maybe the solution is different courses for the males and the females. That would allow the men to start 4 or 5 hours earlier. So, and this isn't the first time they've finished in the dark. What's the plan if Niklas gets to 18 or whatever it would have 15 or whatever they played his final hole and it's just so dark he can't see?
What happens if he misses that putt?
No, what if he doesn't even play the hole? What if he makes that killer birdie on 17 and then they say we got to call it for darkness?
Well, they would have had to call it, right? So they would have had to have blown the horn. I believe you can continue to play after the horn for darkness is blown, but you don't have an option up until that point, and they weren't blowing that horn. From everything I understood, the course was not available today. They were going to finish that thing last night one way or another. Had the tournament been decided because of that, that would have been a travesty, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That your planning was that poor for it. Now the weather they couldn't predict, but I'm with you. I mean, that thing could have been a 1-round washout very easily. That's what the weatherman was saying the whole time. They got lucky to get 54 in for the women and 51 in for the men. What if Niklas doesn't make that putt and we're going to play 18 in the pitch black? Going to play 1 again in the playoff in the pitch black. You're going to decide a professional event like that? I don't know, man.
What do you think about a glow round?
We've seen it.
to decide it.
Philo said, let's do a CCP. Obviously he was being facetious, but it wasn't too far from that point. We're going to go indoors and play 21, flip a coin. I think ultimately would have just been co-champions, right? If he makes it.
Yeah.
If he misses that putt, I think they just have to determine co-champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like they handled it really well, though.
Let's say there were multiple lightning delays that caused even more daylight to be gone. Is making an unannounced cut the final round and taking some of the bottom field out a solution at all? Ronnie?
I don't think so. Now, are most of those players still never going to factor in? Most likely, yes, but you play that tournament expecting to have 3 rounds. You potentially change your strategy the first 2 rounds because of it. Now, I will say Anthony Barella made a really good point after the first round, saying, "Hey, this is moving day. It was pedal to the metal the whole time. We all knew going in this might only be a 2-round event, so you had to be prepared for it. But I don't think you can play 2 rounds, worry about the weather at the 3rd day, and then to say, we're going to eliminate the bottom 20% of the field. We had proved the day before that 14 or 15 under was possible on this course. You can't go tell Smitty that, hey, because you're 8 shots behind the cash line, we're going to remove you from the event. I don't think that's fair to do.
Yeah.
With you.
These are touring professionals. A lot of them depend on that cash, and some of them may make a big jump that final day and get into cash when they weren't.
And
Well,
it did
some-
happen, right? There was some people that moved up.
I think Alden Harris moved way up and got into cash or close to last cash when he was fairly far down there.
And some of the dudes that probably need the cash the most are the ones fighting for that bottom cash. It's not the guys up winning the tournament that sponsors are, paying footing the bill. We're talking about the bottom of the cash line people.
Right, the
Yep.
weekly trunk slammers that are paying their own way into events, and they need to have that opportunity to cash something on the back end, maybe to keep their tour going all year long. So I'm with you. I mean, then again, I think Smitty's point is really probably the most important one. Some of these towns might not have the ability to have two championship courses. Do we then maybe contemplate separating the men's and women's tours then? From a disc golf network standpoint, it's not really feasible that way until the middle of the summer hits, when you have 14 or 15 hours of daylight or whatever. You're 1 hour delay away right now from not getting a tournament round in.
Yeah. Does scheduling need to be factored in when we're talking DGPT schedule? I mean, is this too early to play Texas? Is this their spring storm season? Is that something that might need to be looked at in the future, Smitty?
I don't know where it's probably not spring storm season.
Not anywhere where it's warm enough to play,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everywhere where it's going to be warm enough to play this time of year is going to be threatened by potential storms. And all of us have lived in Tornado Alley our whole life. We know that March and April there's going to be a cold front come through every 3 or 4 or 5 days, and it's probably going to have thunderstorms with it. So the odds of missing that for a whole week on a disc golf pro tour event is pretty small.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, well, first of all, I completely agree. I'm just trying to think of how we can eliminate this just a little bit and make it a little bit easier in the future. Should these events have less players on the MPO side? What do you think about that, Ronnie? Just in general.
There still is, as great as the tour has become, there's still a certain segment of the tour that probably isn't as good as the rest. But I think they're right at the right number, in my opinion. I think what they're fielding like 112 a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty solid number. There's so many great golfers out there and so many people that aren't even on the tour that I don't know how you can condense it a whole lot more than it already has been.
Yeah, it's we're seeing that some of those bottom people can get up there and mix it up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can cut very many more people, but you just got to schedule it and go with it and have a plan in effect and try to think of every possible scenario and go for it.
I mean, as well as anybody, Chris, how difficult, running a tournament is, even at a smaller local level, and having to worry about consequences of weather and all sorts of other factors. It's just, and that's something that happens on one day. Now, extrapolate that onto a week-long event, it just becomes a crapshoot, and you just go do the best you can. And honestly, I think they did about as good as they possibly could have done this week.
Yep, I think it was great.
All right, great. Well, let's talk about the course. Aside from 2 holes, this thing was a completely different course. Ronnie, what are your thoughts of the course itself and the upgrades since last year?
So watching the previews going into the tournament, I was really convinced this was going to be a really good tournament to watch. And it was. The tournament was fun to watch. It just ended up not being the style of golf I really like to watch, which is just a birdie fest. That course was so dependent on the wind blowing. When the wind blew, the course was much different. It played difficult. All the holes played considerably harder. On Saturday, when there was no wind, it simply was not enough of a challenge for these guys. And on Sunday, when the wind wasn't blowing, it just wasn't enough challenge for these guys. What did Kyle Klein shoot, like 11 under par or 12 under par on a 15-hole course?
12, I think.
12.
I mean, that's just absolutely eating them up. And I think he missed a couple putts on the other ones. He could have got them all. I mean, legitimately, all of them were out there for him yesterday. And while all of them should always be out there, I guess, for the guys, there was so many scores of double digits. It wasn't my style. But ultimately, I think the course is a tweak or two here and there away from being a really good Pro Tour course.
There was a couple holes that I really, really liked. I liked hole 2. I thought that was a fantastic hole. Took 2 brilliant shots. I could have done with, 5 and 10 are basically the same hole. I felt like the par 4 they were all eagling was like the world's easiest birdie Niklas went chip with that red mid-range, chip with that red mid-range.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, guys at our level could throw 2 mids and make a 3 there more times than we don't.
yeah, and Cole absolutely pinned it. I mean, he was well inside the circle. And I mean, granted, he's a top 10 percenter distance-wise, but super easy. He wasn't the only one that did that. That par 5, the 1,000-footer, child's play for those dudes.
I thought that until I looked at the statistics. I think you'd be surprised on all the rounds except for Sunday how that hole played. There was a lot of big numbers on that hole too. Just because of all the out of bounds. Now, if you threw a drive in the center of the fairway, and you could throw it 450, 475, you could kind of chop that hole up pretty good. But you'd be surprised how many 6s and 7s, and I think even an 8 from a dude who throws it a mile like Ezra Aderholm yesterday.
No.
So
Snowman, huh?
Yeah, there was some big. That one I think only played like maybe 0.2 of a stroke under par, which is kind of a middle of the range hole on the Pro Tour.
Well, I guess maybe the people we were watching were just on fire and shredding. That makes a lot of difference.
And that's part of it too. Our opinions kind of get jaded a little bit because we're generally watching the 10 or 12 best guys in the event play it every day, and all of those guys made it look crazy easy.
Mm-hmm. Then
I like the hole though.
There's some holes that potentially could develop into good holes, which I didn't like the way they played this weekend. Hole 6, you hate it because of the trees. I don't care so much about the trees as long as the OB isn't there. I felt like it was double penalizing dudes that hit an early tree and kick left or right. Number one, are they not getting up and down regardless, but they're also getting a penalty stroke added on. So that I feel like that was the worst hole, the way it played.
I didn't mind the out of bounds. You guys kind of talked about this, but I didn't mind the out of bounds as much. I'll go back to what you said about chess.com. What do we like so much about chess.com? At Olympus, you had tight fairways and penalizing rough, but the fairways were clean, right? If you made a good shot down the center of a fairway, you were probably going to have a clean line, a good look. On that hole, I saw so many people throw what appeared to be an absolutely perfect drive and get to their lie and have nothing in, quote, the center of the fairway. They can put as much OB as they want out there. If you have a clean way to attack a hole, then the OB is just there. It's there. I just hate when there's things in the middle of a fairway.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I felt like one of the two needed to be gone, either clear up an actual lane or get rid of the OB. But then the next hole, if those guys do a good shot on that, man, they were getting there. And it was not an easy shot. Same with, was it 17?
17 was a really good hole. That was a high level shot.
Yeah, dude. And if they threw great shots, they're getting a putt. And if they weren't, they might get an OB, which I didn't care for, but they were getting penalized by not being able to get up and down easily.
Yeah, I didn't like that OB on the left either, especially for the ladies, because that's a really high level shot for the women, and it was so close to those trees. I saw so many people kick out of bounds left on what appeared to be not very poor shots. But for the men, I thought 17 was a really, really good hole. There's just no reason to have that out of bounds left. You're already in the woods. If you kicked over there, you're already penalized enough. Why penalize the players with another stroke just because you want to have some white stakes up?
Sorry, did you guys hear that?
Yeah, you all right?
Excuse me.
Somebody moved a chair upstairs on the wood floor.
Oh wow, yeah, that was
either that or I got a pet elephant I didn't know about.
Well, I agree with you guys. I don't love the OB in those wooded shots. Think you take that away. Did you all have the same thoughts going in? I looked at the caddy book. I looked at the holes. I'm like, it's going to play fairly challenging. And it didn't. Double digits so many times. And I thought it was going to be a challenge for these guys.
They're so good, man. We say it all the time. These players are unbelievable. They're so much better than you can even comprehend. And two, we want to have those tight shots. But there was too many times where they only had to advance at 350 feet at a time. And players at this level, when you force that, and they have clean ways to get there, they're going to score low unless the conditions just don't allow it.
Well,
They're too good.
Even at the start of yesterday's broadcast, Ron and I were going back and forth. Holy cow, I can't believe that. Those dudes were slinging in putts from everywhere. So even when they didn't bullseye, they were just it was incredible. And the action was so good, man. They were covering so many different cars. Now, we did miss some stuff because they didn't have both cameras on one shot. But hey, I will take what we had. That was fantastic to start out the broadcast for sure. And towards the end of the broadcast, it was fantastic as well.
Yeah.
So we talked about the course, but let's also talk about the tee pads because they seem slick, maybe even uneven. I know the rain didn't help. The mud made things harder. Smitty, tell me how you felt about the tee pads, and is there a better alternative to what they were using?
Cement's always good in my opinion, but once again, we're on a ball golf course and they didn't have the okay to put a tee pad in. I think turf tee pads can be fine as well, but I didn't see very many people slip and sliding on coverage, but I did see some Instagram posts about spots being like wallowed out from everybody planting in the same spot. And I think Adam Hammis posted something about slipped and hurt his knee, and a little bit of water on cement though. And those things can sometimes be slippery as well. So if there's no sprinkles, no showers, are they fine with them then? I don't know, man.
I think the conditions dictated that as much as anything else.
I was happy to see them being flat. That was nice. They were low enough to the ground. It was an easy transition if you needed it. Also, I think it was hole 17. It looked like they extended the back of it maybe after the fact because of the rain possibly. So, no, I think once again they did as good a job as they could have on that without actually being on the tee pad, throwing on the tee pad, seeing what was going on. I think they did great. They weren't too small, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and not a safety hazard like the last ones were. Well, we have to mention Owen. She was incredible, the highest rated tournament in history for the FBO, and she can be playing age protected. Just an amazing performance. Ronnie, I think you got to meet her or at least be around her at Masters Worlds last year. What did you think about her execution on the course this weekend?
She's incredible, man. She really is. The way that she putts, the way that she attacks her shots, it's pretty incredible. I don't know that there's another player out there outside of maybe Evelina that really goes after every shot like she does. She's always in go mode. She knows her game as well as anybody out there does, and she executes her game. She's playing from a distance disadvantage almost all the time, and it doesn't matter because when you get her inside 50 feet, she's so much better than almost everybody else that she can make up that difference on just about any golf course. I mean, look at her 2 Pro Tour wins. This one on a ball golf course, and she won at Deglow. These are not the little shorties that you would expect her to win, but she won both of them. And this one, she won in absolutely dominant, historic fashion.
Her mistakes are small, right? She might miss her line, but she's not out of bounds often. And I think some of that can probably be attributed to the fact that she's always throwing those flex shots. So if she does mess up, she's flexing it over and maybe burning it into the ground versus losing it. I'm talking a flick versus losing it way right. And even her backhands are always a flex shot. So maybe that's helping her. I'm not sure. But yeah, dude, she's so awesome to be at that big of a disadvantage distance-wise off the tee. But like you said, absolutely know her game, know her abilities, and to play within her abilities. And just to know that if she's 50 foot and in, she's running that sucker. It's coming by chain high no matter what.
You know, and you couple all that with the fact that she's one of them people that you can just get behind. You know, her personality is, you know, a ray of sunshine to everybody that's out there. She's always smiling. She's always laughing. She's always engaged with the crowd. Yeah, I mean, she epitomizes to me what the Pro Tour should be. And she's on her way to who knows what kind of season. Sky's the limit for her.
I would say if there was one other person on the women's side that might have even been close to as fantastic on the weekend as Own, Des freaking Redding.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Give me Des every time on women's mic. She's a straight shooter. She's never overly impressed by anything. And if she sees a good shot, she's going to say, "Oh, that was amazing." But if she sees a 200-foot up shot go a foot from the pin, she's going to say, "That's what she should do from there."
She's a Texas girl. She's not that impressed by too much, and she got to see JK do a lot of really amazing things, and she did a lot of pretty amazing things herself. It's not every shot is the greatest shot there's ever been.
Yeah, she did outstanding.
I liked her as well.
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend. Can't wait for the next one. It just seems like every single event we get to really just gush about how good the event was, and I hope it continues through the rest of the year because this is a lot of fun. But let's move on to our next segment. Top 5. So, boys, you sent me your picks for the top 5 women disc golfers in the sport today. You sent me your opinion, and then you sent me what you thought the other person would pick. And again, because I would say the top 5 are basically pretty close to solidified. There's probably a couple, 2 or 3 that can be thrown in there, maybe a top 8 that can kind of mix and match. So to get points, you're going to have to hit it directly on the number with the person. Last time, Smitty won, and Smitty is now 4-1.
Wait, is that
wrong?
What was that?
No.
I think he's saying you're cutting out on his end. He couldn't hear it.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Is that how it worked? It's that hotel internet, Ronnie?
Man, these Chief Hiltons, what are you going to do?
Well, we're just going to let Smitty go first. No one won last week. We won't mention that record again. So, Smitty, let's start with 5. Who's your number 5?
I went with Hannah Bloomrose. I think she's the best, possibly the best thrower off of the tee. And she putted terribly.
So bad.
This week, which I felt terrible for her. And she finished 4th place, tied for 4th. She's also finished 6th at Waco and 5th at chess.com. So she's averaging a 5th place finish, so I put her in my 5 slot.
Can't argue with that one.
It's going to be hard for me to argue it, considering I have hit it in 5th as well.
No.
And since she's the best. I think she is the best thrower in the division, and it's heartbreaking to see what happens to her on the greens. It's just heartbreaking, and I wish I could go out there, and I'm a terrible putter too, but I wish I could just go make the 12 footers for her, because I know I can get those, and if she just had those back, it would make a huge difference. I think she was 1 for 12 yesterday, and that doesn't even include the C1 putts that were inside the bullseye that it doesn't count.
Yeah, it's
heartbreaking, but she's an unbelievable thrower. She's incredible. So I've got her at number 5 in the world. Number 4, and Lucas said it right. I think if we could have went 8 deep on this, I think we'd have got the same 8 people in some kind of version. But 4th, I've got Holland Hanley in 4th. She's another person that I think is a really great thrower. Kind of got fooled and went to the school of Paige Pierce. Kind of came up under her wing a little bit, and she's a great thrower like Paige, and she's starting to come on as a pretty good putter. She won a major last year, and I think she's someone you have to put in the mix just about every week. Play as well this week as I expected, but I think she's right there, and that's why I've got her number 4.
No, you're exactly right. She could make a top 5 list anytime. She's a third, 16th. Yeah, she's great. Henna's co-partner, Evelina, got my 4 slot. Another tremendous thrower, much improved on the green, first, fourth, eighth, averaging right around that area for finishes.
Yeah, I actually had you putting Evelina in fifth, so I had her on your list, but I had her one slot too low.
And I didn't have Holland on your list. In fact, your list is my list. They're the same list.
Yes, they are.
So my number 3, Missy Gannon. I'm guessing she's probably your number 3 too. I think that's probably right where she fits. Third, ninth, third.
I actually don't have Missy in third, and I think you might be surprised who I have in third.
Ella Hansen.
Actually, not real surprised. No, Ella Hansen was on my just missed list. So I had Evelina and Ella just outside the top 5. I think that 4, 5, 6, 7 slot was basically interchangeable. But I actually have Own in third. I mean, it's a huge shock. Maybe she's not 2, right? but yeah, I actually have Own in third on my list.
Cheating.
Second on my list, I do have Missy. And I'll give you this reason why. Do I think Own's a better player? I don't know. I think they're very close, but Missy has come up so big in so many big situations. She's big money Missy for a reason, and that's why I've got her number 2 in the world.
I mean, that's a good spot for her. So my 2 and 1 are obvious based on my other list. Owen's going to be second. She's, in my opinion, she's going to win a lot of tournaments on the putting green. And then Kristen Tatar still has to be the top dog.
Yeah, I had Holly Finley number 1. I mean, I would have, but she got a 2-stroke penalty, so that knocks her all the way out.
Yeah.
And I had Kristen Tatar, obviously.
Yeah. So number 1, not a surprise for anyone. Yeah, I think Missy and Owen, that's a good debate in itself.
I think if you look at it, though, I think those top 3 are pretty solidified, unlike the men's side where we know who the 1, 2, 3 are in the women. And I think those are the 3 best putters. I don't think it's any surprise. I think those are the 3 best putters in the division too.
Yep. And so as far as points go here, Smitty, you got Hannah, you got Kristen for Ronnie, and Ronnie, you got Owen, and you got Kristen. So you guys 2 and 2. You guys tied.
Let's settle it, buddy. I go rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You cheater. Okay, I win.
Oh my God. This was bad. That lag.
I tried to cheat.
Not very well.
All right, we'll keep it at tie.
The cat went 3 counts and then shoot. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, go.
That's right. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Except you went rock, paper.
No, I did not. I almost went lizard on you.
Whoa.
You know lizard?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the lizard.
There's lizard.
You don't watch
There's Spock. And then
what's that from?
You don't watch The Big Bang Theory?
Oh,
well, that's
God,
it.
no.
Rock, paper, scissors,
My
lizard,
wife does,
Spock.
though.
Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock.
Yeah.
All right. Please
used to
drop a
remember
comment
all of
if you are cool like me and do not watch The Big Bang Theory, like these weirdos.
Ooh, dude, that's one of the better sitcoms
It's
of
really
the
good.
last 20 years.
I love that you guys love it. I didn't expect you to. That's funny. That's cute.
It's a nerdy obsession. I even watch Young Sheldon.
I don't do that.
Ooh.
Pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
It is. The few episodes I've caught, I've laughed at. But
Well, let us move into a new section, a new segment. Bum ba da dum.
Siskel and Ebert?
Wheel of Debate.
Close.
Really
That was
close. So last time Smitty went bold and decided to spend 30 seconds of his debate not talking, and it paid off to get him 1 vote. Ronnie also got 1 vote, so you guys actually tied. We did have 2 votes though, so we absolutely doubled our vote count. So we, as always, we're gonna spin a wheel, and then we're gonna spin it again to see who gets the pro side or the con side of the debate. We still have quite a few topics here. Let's see which one we're gonna get today. Ooh. Outlawing rangefinders. Okay. So right here, guys, we got the pro and con side of the coin. Oh, who's this for?
Smitty.
I'll go. I don't care.
All right.
You won the previous one, so.
Yeah. So Smitty, you're gonna say, yo, we need to outlaw rangefinders. Ronnie, you're like, nah, we don't need to do that. I love rangefinders. Smitty, 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
There's no need to have a rangefinder, in my opinion. Look at the last 2 weeks of this show. We've had discussions of time violation after time violation. Part of that's coming from these guys going to their bag to get their rangefinder to range everything from the T-pad to the basket, which is on the player's guide. You can look at your caddy book and see what that is, to a particular landing spot, which they should have found in practice, to my least favorite thing, a putt. Range finding a putt. Are you kidding me? Why would you need that anyhow? These are the best players in the world. These are disc golfers that practice their trade every day. If you can't get within 40 feet, 20 foot short and 20 foot long of a pin, you need to be out in the field practicing a little bit more.
All right. Love the argument. All right,
He's
Ronnie.
chomping at the bit. Look at
Yeah.
You know how excited I am for it.
He leaned forward. You don't see Ronnie lean forward too often. All right, Ronnie. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Time begins now.
Well, I guess all of us aren't as lucky as my co-host here to be a world champion and be able to know the distance to every basket with just an eyeball. Oh, how lucky he must be, and how lucky we are to be in his presence. Well, here's the deal. As long as I'm not being absurd with my time, I'm going to go to my bag. I'm going to get my rangefinder because I practice. We talk about practice. I practice that distance. That's why I want to know how far away it is. That's why I want to know if I'm in an event that if I'm inside or outside the circle, if it doesn't have the markers. A rangefinder has its place. If you would like, we could all get caddies and I could have my caddy walk it off for me to the nearest marker. But for right now, rangefinders are the best thing we have to be able to accurately judge distance, and I'm going to use them.
All right. Great arguments from both sides.
Rebuttal.
Oh, yeah. Are we going Brody here?
I am on this.
Okay, let's hear it. You get. Do you really want to rebuttal?
I don't need any time on that clock.
Okay, go ahead, Smitty. Rebuttal.
All right, bro. Why you got to poke fun at me for winning a tournament that I didn't use a rangefinder at one single time? Nor did I ever say that I knew the accurate distance to the hole. I use my own strategy for figuring it out, which is, oh, I've played this hole before, though I never have. This is the same shot as hole 7 at Millbrook.
Well, maybe some of us aren't gifted with 40/20 vision like you.
I'm blind as a bat.
No, I mean,
Lucas.
Look, let's not be absurd with the time that it takes. I hope that we're not seeing time violations because folks are going to their bag for their rangefinder on every single shot. Now, there's some tour players out there that I see doing it probably far too much. But I think the rangefinders are fine, right? In professional golf, you have a caddy to go out there, and there's markers along the fairway. I think that's probably would be the easiest step to remove some of that, is be able to have a 150-foot marker or a 250-foot marker, or something that you could be able to more accurately judge some distances, because some people are really fine with their distances. I know I'm not. I look and I see and I hope I get it close, right? But I think rangefinders are fine. I don't think we need to get rid of them.
Yeah, I don't care if people use them. Actually, I think it adds another fun factor to the round. I love when some dude goes to his bag and ranges it, and I look at Ronnie and say 183, just to see how close I can get.
He's pretty deftly accurate with it, actually. Luckily, we play so much golf together. My batteries have been dead on my rangefinder for about 6 months, so I just asked Smitty, "How far am I?" And
Well,
then he lies to me, and then I figure out the real distance.
That's one reason I play with Brandon Dixon all the time, because he has a rangefinder and he has a retriever stick, two things that I don't have.
Yeah, I actually hate caddying for Ronnie because his rangefinder doesn't do it to feet; it's in meters, and I can't do that mental math, and it scares me. I can't times 3 that fast.
Really, just a multiplication or division of 3. It's not like we don't need to be astronauts to do it.
I feel like it's rocket science for sure. It is very tough. So yeah,
I need a new one. Okay,
Christmas present coming up. No problem.
Bushnell, if you're out there, send me one. I'll try it out for you.
Oh yeah, Bushnell. I think there's another good one on the market too. We'll find out when they sponsor our next episode. All right. Before we move into a new segment, hey, who do you think won that debate? Was it Smitty or was it Ronnie? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Also, let us know what you personally think. All right, moving in to another segment. Weekly picks. We're not going to make picks this week, but we are going to check our picks from last week. And I can't wait. I don't think I was the worst I've been. So we're going to start with the stink. Start with the stink. Yeah, I did not do well. I chose Anthony Barilla. Smitty chose Paul Macbeth. Ronnie, Carter Aarons. And Carter tied for 79th. McBeast tied for 22nd, and AB was tied for 4th. So I definitely was the worst here by a landslide.
You stunk. That was a terrible pick.
I will say I thought it was going to be the same course as last year. He got 53rd last year. I don't know. That's my excuse.
I don't see that dude struggling on any course this year. His putt was a little sketchy this week at times, but he was still a killer.
Yeah,
it was so sketchy. He still had the solo lead on the back 9 on Sunday at one point.
Yeah.
So,
but
he clearly didn't have his best stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Still in the mix to win the golf tournament. The dude, pick him as he's right now. You know, we said it last week. He might be the best player in the world right now. Outside of, he's definitely in the mix.
He truly has found another gear for himself, and it's awesome to see. But it was a dumb pick by me. I will say Smitty getting a yellow here when Paul Macbeth is tied for 22nd. With Paul's track record this year, that is not a yellow. That's a red to me. That's not a stink for Paul this year.
Yeah, I wonder who made the graphic.
Oh, come on, guys. This is the GOAT here we're talking about. Right? This guy, I still think
so is Babe Ruth, but he's probably not having his best finish of the year this year.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about easy greens. Let's pick a guy that's made less than $400 in tour this year, and let's call him the guy that's gonna stink.
Let's cut him some slack. He's made $426. He's on pace for nearly $2,000 for the year. So I'd say it's a pretty astute pick in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, you could just pick anyone Lone Star and probably win stink every week.
Freddie was doing really good for a long time and then kind of fell off the face the last round.
Hebenheimer.
Oh yeah, he's Lone Star now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good round.
That guy changes sponsors more than I change underwear, but he was doing all right.
Wow. A little look into the life there.
Yeah.
Well, I usually don't wear them.
Can't wait for that championship documentary.
Yeah. Are we good with it though?
Yeah, we're good with it. We're fine.
Right,
I'm just giving you a hard time. I think me having AP tied for 4th as a stink made yours look just really good. Yeah, it made y'all look amazing. So, all right, let's talk sleepers here. Ronnie picked Vino, Smitty picked Proctor, and I chose Austin Turner. And Proctor and Turner tied for 24, and Vino tied for 29th. I think we all did pretty decent here this week. Oh, but I got the green check mark. So you're saying I did the best.
Yes, Lucas, you did good.
This might be the first time I've said this on this segment. That was a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
Austin played considerably better than his tournament average finish, and he actually slid back about 10 spots on Sunday.
Yeah, he had a bad final round.
Really well. So, well done, Lucas.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good pick. 100% luck, but a good pick.
Yeah, because
my guy was on the green on Sunday, celebrating a championship, but no big deal.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have picked Austin if I would have known it was going to be a different course completely. Again, that's what I was basing my picks off of. But still, we got it. We're counting it. We got a green check mark for the first time ever. And let's talk about Shine. Oh, someone picked the winner of the tournament, Niklas Anttila, and I picked Gannon Burr. And after all was said and done, of course, Anttila won, Gannon tied 4, and Proctor tied for 24.
Well, I just got to say I had the best week because I have no red, and I picked the overall winner, so that's an automatic win no matter what.
I will say me picking Gannon here was a little bit like Ronnie picking Carter for the stink. It was we were going to be guaranteed a yellow or a green in that regard.
I'm not too far off on that going with Nicholas.
I said picking Nicholas was like it wasn't picking Proctor. It wasn't going out on a limb whatsoever. And we know the guy's a stud. We just said last week the guy's in the top 5 in the world. Let's not. But I'd say we actually all did fairly decent here. Proctor, I really thought he would have a little bit better week, but it's not like he was terrible. Nicholas, the way he won it was amazing. And then Gannon Burr's Gannon Burr. I think he's the best player on the planet.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Proctor hasn't done more this year, considering his last year. He was really good last year.
The tour is really good, man. 24th place on tour right now is like the top 10 was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm wondering if maybe we need to revisit our criteria for what a stink or a sleeper. Well, a sleeper's pretty obvious, but it's just so subjective as to how I decide who gets red, yellow, or green.
No, keep doing it. I'll keep talking trash, dude. I love what you're doing.
It gives us something to chastise you about, and I personally love doing that. So.
Perfect. Believe it.
Yeah, please. No criteria needed.
We'll leave it.
As long as I'm getting a green sometimes, woo, I'm feeling good. No. I'm gonna sleep so well tonight, y'all.
Don't get used to it. You got a green and a yellow on an accidental. It's like picking an accidental horse in a horse race. You got a little lucky there for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wait. I already got my picks basically picked for next week. I'm gonna see what the course looks like because it's changing a little bit. Well, I guess 2 weeks from now, right, is Texas State's, but so we'll see. I'm excited. I think we are going to take a break next week and not do a show after the women's. But we are going to watch this weekend, but we're just not going to do a show until 2 weeks from now. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, unless something crazy happens, then we can pop in and do it.
Yeah. So the plan is no, but we might. Ronnie?
No, I agree with that. Yeah, let's plan on just doing their recap along with the overall Texas State's preview. But yeah, if something crazy happens this weekend, I'm more than happy to get on and talk about it.
All right. I love it.
These new courses with no tradition really do make it like luckily picking a horse in a horse race, because we have no idea what Lake Waco is. We have no idea what Open at Austin course was. And I really have no idea what they're doing in Houston.
Lucas has kind of harped on it the last couple of weeks, wanting that better history with the events. And it's hard to do that when the events just bounce around everywhere, change golf courses. I mean, obviously you have to be able to do that to make the courses competitive and play as well as it possibly can. And I think they did that at Austin. I think the guys just proved they were too good. But I don't know what they're doing for Houston. I really wish they'd have left Texas State's at Tyler. That course at Tyler is almost a perfect tour golf course, I think.
Yep. So from what I've read, they are changing the courses up a little bit from last year. So they're going to be modified they've renamed them to like Premier and like Platinum or something crazy like that. But they're just going to be modified from last year, but it is going to be the same Brock Park still.
Just have to catch some practice rounds. Who is that guy you shared with me? Bonanza?
Yep. He was out there in Texas. I don't know if he's going to be out there for this one.
I like the format of his practice round. It was multiple shots, him just jamming through it. I don't know how good that guy is, but you could at least see what the course offered.
Yeah, I liked it. I'd heard of him obviously, but never watched any of his stuff till he turned me on to him last week for the open course. And I followed him. I instantly followed him on YouTube. So
yeah, he's the dude that's been like playing for 2 years, started YouTube first and then started like playing. And so his whole journey's there, and he just got sponsored by Infinite this year. So it's a huge deal to him. I mean, he's definitely not there, but he is grinding hard. It's fun to follow a journey like that.
I just liked that it wasn't silly the whole time. I have a hard time watching, I watched one hole of Jomez practice round this week, and that's all I could take. I guess I'm an old grumpy man, but it wasn't.
Well, you still watched 15 minutes.
That's true. Yeah, I think that gentleman that you picked, Ronnie, for a sleeper this year, he usually does like a practice round too. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Braden's usually got one. I didn't see one from Open in Austin, and I may have missed it. I was kind of out and about last week, so I may have missed that. But yeah, he's usually got a pretty good little practice round one, and like I said, he kind of runs in Joey Bucket's crowd, so it's usually a pretty decent one to watch.
Did he play Open at Austin?
He didn't play well. It was his worst finish so far. I think he finished back there somewhere with Carter Harris.
Well, they both beat my sleeper for the year.
Yeah. Brody. We'll see. I think that guy's done.
They beat my sleeper too. Unfortunately, our interview guest from a few weeks ago, Mr. Stokely, is not having an awesome go of it the first couple of hits.
Yep, for sure. All right, boys, another fun episode. We're going to leave everyone on the 19th hole with the shot of the tournament. So please enjoy that. Again, if you have not, please like, follow, subscribe, do all the things that help us on the YouTube platform. Get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Later.
It's in.
There it is.
Niklas, yes, there's the emotion. always so composed, always so stoic, and then the raw emotion coming out to Omos, and there's going to be a couple more Finns running in here soon. I just know it.
Oh, there's one. And there's Jesse. And the whole country is also doing that at the same time. What a start for the season for Finland. Evelina in Florida, and now Niklas with his first Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series win.